Hey, Bobby, you know what's really creepy? Good, you didn't interrupt me.
You interrupted yourself.
I know I did. Well, I got really excited. No, I was listening to our Sleeping is Creepy podcast right before this.
Oh.
And I said, hey, Bobby. And then I went to say the second part and you interrupted me.
What's creepy, Lauren?
Me.
Yes.
Every time. When this comes out, you will be snowboarding.
I will be.
It's a little creepy.
I will be snowboarding.
Knowing that at this very moment, when this comes out, you will be snowboarding. It's like we could see into the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're filming ahead a little bit because Bobby's going on a snowboarding trip that I wasn't invited to.
Nope.
I was invited, but I didn't want to go with a toddler because she's not going to be. I'll go and she can also go to like ski school during the day. So then we can be able to snowboard. But that led us to wanting to talk about skiing and or snowboarding, snow activities.
Going down a hill on a thing.
On a piece of, is it wood? I don't even know.
No,
Fiberglass?
It's composite. It's a composite of different materials. Wood is included.
I should have looked that up. What are skis and snowboards made out of? I don't know.
Resin.
Is it?
Wood, resin.
Oh,
poly
mixture
stuff. I'm not sure. They're all different materials. They started out as wood.
All of them?
Yeah,
I don't know
probably.
anything about material.
About material.
If I had to start life over and create stuff for myself, I would never know.
Snowboarding probably was
skis
wood.
were wood.
Maybe it was like laminated layers of wood. But yeah, skis.
Our viewers are probably very excited about this materials conversation. Well, being that you're the one that gets to go snowboarding.
Yes.
Do you want to talk first about how you started?
How I started snowboarding? Sure. I got a board and I went on a mountain.
Wow.
Riveting. Thank you. Thank you. So I began skiing when I was probably around 8-ish. And I did that for a couple years, went on like the ski trips with the school when I was in grade school, elementary school. Did that for a couple years, enjoyed skiing. But when I was around 12 or 13, snowboarding started becoming cool and popular. And one of my best friends, Ryan, he had started snowboarding and convinced me I should try it. So we went to Sports Authority and I bought an Airwalk snowboard for maybe around $100 for my birthday. Didn't buy boots because I didn't think that was important, which was a grave mistake. I later found out. And when
did you even use your board without?
Yes, I used regular. So
oh my God.
My first time snowboarding was terrible. And if I hadn't bought or gotten my board for my birthday, I would have definitely gone back to skiing. So I got my board and I went and I started out in the bunny hill. And right away, one of the bindings, pretty sure it was my front right binding. So snowboard has, you put your feet in and there's straps that go over. They're called bindings. And there's usually like one that goes over your toe and one that goes over like where your ankle.
And to be fair, the reason you need snowboard boots is because they're big.
Yes.
They're large enough to fit into these bindings.
So that they can.
And they're stiff so your leg can move and not hurt itself if you like. Yeah. Just in general, you're supposed to use snowboard.
So I used regular snow boots. The binding was broken, so I had 3 of my 4 bindings, and I was loose. My foot was basically like loose in the bindings. It was not tight.
You're lucky you didn't break your leg.
I didn't get lessons. I had a terrible time. A trail that now, if I was to do it, would probably take me a minute to go down at most. Took me about 30 minutes, constantly falling, not knowing what to do. Next time I went, I got lessons, and everything clicked. I couldn't turn one way, and I figured out how to turn, and I had snowboarding boots. And everything since, I figured it out, was able to pretty much almost keep up with my dad right away on my snowboard. And that was what I said. I was 13 and I'm going to be 36. So what's that? 23 years ago? Is that math right? No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, 23 years. That's scary to think about. And I've never been out west because I was supposed to go out west in March of 2020.
I just think it's not meant to be.
March 16th, we were going to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And there was some whispers of a...
Not you. Why was I not going?
You were pregnant.
No, I wasn't. It was the start of the pandemic.
Oh, no, you weren't.
Yeah, why wasn't I going?
I don't know.
I wasn't invited again.
No, I definitely asked you. Oh, it was because everyone that was going was like good and like it was gonna be more about like riding hard.
I think I just did and I didn't. There was nobody that I was super close to besides you and Justin.
And that other Justin that I had met just recently, and he invited me to go.
That's why.
So we were gonna go, and COVID was like starting up, and I kept texting my friend like the weeks leading up, being like, I don't know if this doesn't impact us. And like 2 days before or a day before, I was like, dude, I think I'm going to cancel. Like, I just have a bad feeling we're going to get stuck. And the day we would have been there, the mountain was closed because they had too much snow and they couldn't run the ski lifts and stuff. And then the next day, the mountain closed because of COVID. And we would have been...
And then like the next day, the borders closed.
Yeah.
So you would have had to... Did they fly home or did they drive back?
I don't remember. They probably...
Basically, we just watched everything unfold from home. And I was like, you guys are so lucky that you did not get on the plane because you would have gotten stuck out west or had to deal with...
It would have been rough.
Yeah.
Would have made it work, but less than ideal.
Yeah, so that was Bobby's almost trip out west.
Yeah, I've only skied the East Coast, mostly Vermont. There's
Canada.
In Canada, and a local mountain in Pennsylvania that I go to because it's like an hour-ish away from where we live.
I started because my extended family started going to this small place in Canada. Actually, I'm not even going to say the name because I don't want it to get overpopulated because it's gotten pretty popular. They run like Olympic, like the Olympic preliminaries.
Trials and stuff, I think.
They run some of the Olympic stuff there for people to qualify, basically. It's like the pre-Olympic stuff, which is pretty cool to see, but it gets really busy during those times. Anyway, we go to this smaller resort in Canada that we love because we know all the staff. We've been going for years. But I think my first time going, was when I was like 8. Like I started going later than my cousins.
Yeah. So we probably started around the same time.
I think because my mom wasn't a ski person. Yeah. She'll probably yell at me when she listens. She'll be like, that's not why. But then we started going every year. So, and it was fine. But
did you start out snowboarding right away?
No, I started skiing.
Same.
And that's why I think I went in when I was 8, I think was my first time going. And I started ski school and we would go to ski school, me and my cousins, which was fun. And then we tried ski skates.
Oh, I did those a couple times.
Yeah, because we wanted to be cool. This was all because we were fine with it while we were younger. And then when we hit like middle school, we're like, skiing's lame. Let's try something cooler. Skiing's cool. I don't know why we thought skiing wasn't cool.
Because snowboarding was
I guess because our parents are all skiers. We're like, we want to do something younger.
They hadn't really like advanced skis that much yet.
Yeah. Also, it's a very... Well, I'll go into like just for people who have never skied.
I shouldn't say advanced. They advanced skis, but they weren't like... They were kind of...
There's some cool skiers. My cousins are scary.
Oh,
skiers.
I wish
they like go straight down, and
I wish I had stuck with it because you can
go way faster on skis.
I don't know about that.
I think so.
I disagree. I think
I agree.
Snowboarding. You agree that
I'm
pretty sure. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
I
think you have a little bit more maneuverability in the trees with skis.
What? I disagree with that. I think I have way more maneuverability with snowboard.
Whatever. You don't know anything.
Anyway, we tried ski skates and it was fun, but it wasn't like...
They're just not stable.
Yeah, they're fun for like the day, but not
I've done them a handful of times. One time I did them and I thought they were awesome. They fit great.
And if you don't know what ski skates are, they're basically just small skis.
Yeah.
Like they're like the size of your foot. They're like a little bigger than your foot. So you're kind of just like...
They're not stable. Like every little bump is like... Blah, 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 blah. The first time I did it, I had a great time. And then I tried them again and they like didn't fit the same. And it was terrible. It didn't feel good at all.
But it was funny because we always not make fun of, but like remember when we would go to ski school and we went to the French speaking part of Canada. So they all had like a French accent and they didn't know every English word. but they would be like, oh, it was pizza and French fry. Like pizza is like, you have to keep your skis kind of like a pizza shape, like a V in the front, like a slice of pizza. And that's how you slow down. And then French fry was like going straight so that you would pick up speed, and then you would pizza and you would get
pizza, French fry.
Like the South Park thing. If you French fry when you're supposed to pizza, you're gonna have a bad
time.
Yeah, so but I remember that, and they also start you with no poles. For anybody who didn't know, when you start skiing, they're like, no poles. You need to focus on just your legs and what you're doing with your skis. And I remember when they finally gave us poles, we were like, oh my God, we've graduated.
We have poles.
They trust us with poles. Then we started hitting each other with them. Yeah, so it's great. Yeah, so little kids, they like never get poles. You just get poles when you get older because little kids can't be trusted with poles. I think they're worried they're gonna like impale themselves or something. But yeah, so then we did ski skates. And then when we kept begging our parents to let us go snowboarding. And there's this like unwritten, not even, I was gonna say this unspoken thing where like skiers secretly hate snowboarders.
Yeah, it's not secret at all.
It's not secret.
It's just a stupid way of separating, and
people just like to hate on other people for reasons.
For doing something
no
different.
matter
for
what
being
you're
different.
doing.
For
yeah.
being different.
But their reason is because they think that snowboarders ruin the mountain, because when you carve, which is like going back and forth on a snowboard, you basically create these like mounds kind of if there's too much snow. So if you're skiing and you're going straight, it like hits these mounds, and you could technically, your skis could like go into the snow and fall.
Yeah.
So they blame whenever
I think that's more like the novice level, because at the more like advanced expert level, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because I ride with
also
more advanced expert people.
I say, and there's the stereotype, which is sometimes true, that like snowboarders are a bit more rowdy and not as like
that's
reserved. Dumb. I've noticed it. I get cut off by snowboarders way more than skiers.
It's all the same. It's nonsense.
But anyway,
it's bad stereotypes.
Our parents didn't want us to be snowboarders because they didn't want us to be those people.
Yeah.
But we begged them, and we were about, I think, 13 too. And we were like, because we're teenagers, we thought snowboarding was cooler and we would be cool if we learned to snowboard. So they finally gave in and let us take snowboard lessons. And I still remember my first day of snowboarding, we accidentally went down a black diamond, had to take off our snowboard,
down your butts.
Try to ride it like a sled. And all of a sudden, just out of the corner of my eye, my cousin's snowboard just flies past me with her running after it as if there's anything and she's like, stop it. I'm like, so yeah, that was a fun story. And also you fall a lot. And they did warn us. They were like, the next morning, you're going to feel like crap. And I just want you to understand that. But as teenage girls, we're like, nah, we're fine. Like, even as like a 13, 14-year-old, I still remember the next morning waking up and we did not want to move.
Wow.
I felt horrible. We all felt like so sore and in pain. And our aunt was basically like threw us a thing of Advil and was like, you have a lesson. You wanted to do this. Get up. Because we were like, we're not going to go to lessons today. God. And she's like, no,
we paid for it. You're going.
We paid for it. And you guys begged us to do this. Get up, take Advil, get up and go.
Take Advil.
That's awesome. But then it was worth it, because then after a couple days we started getting it. We didn't fall as much and we weren't as sore. So.
In my opinion, I think snowboarding is harder to learn and easier to master, and skiing is easier to learn and harder to master.
Ooh, I like that. I agree.
Wow, we agree.
I agree with that.
I love snowboarding.
I forgot that you also skied.
Yeah. A couple times I've switched with my friends who are like similar sizes with me. He's a skier and I'll use his skis and he'll use my board.
Do you still remember how to do it?
Yeah, I can still do it. I could strap on skis.
Yeah, that's what's weird. My mom had me do it once with her,
yeah.
like the last time she ever went with us. And because she was like, I just want to ski with you again. I'm like, okay. So I did it for the day. And yeah, you pick up, it's kind of like riding a bike again.
It's just balance. It's just that muscle memory balance that you get.
Yeah. Same with snowboarding. I hadn't snowboarded in like 3 years and then went last year and I didn't fall once.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to go. I haven't been. I went once last year. I used to go like 10 to 20.
That was a fun day too.
Yeah, it's a nice mountain we go to. I used to go like 10 to 20 times a year when I was like high school, college days. out of college. That has changed. I don't do it as much anymore. Though, to be fair, the conditions are not as good. We used to get snowstorms because I used to like going when we get fresh powder.
Yeah.
And we don't have that anymore because global warming and stuff. So
we keep making dark jokes to Melody whenever there's like snow on the TV in like a show she's watching. I'm like, look, Mel, that's called snow.
Yeah.
We used to have that when I was a child. We haven't
Not
your whole
anymore.
lifetime.
It feels like the last.
We haven't had one like
The
decent
last. Remember
snow.
we had a big one last year.
Did we?
We get one big storm a year at most.
When?
Remember we had all that snow. I had to like dig. Like
I thought that was the year before. I thought that was
I'm pretty sure
2020.
it was last year.
Oh.
We'll get one big snowstorm a year, and that's
I'm
it.
happy with that at this point. It's almost February. We haven't had any.
Yeah.
When did we have that one? Was it February?
I might have been later.
Watch, you're gonna miss it.
Yeah, I know.
Me and my mom are gonna have to navigate.
Yeah, I'm worried about. I've been thinking about that.
What, me and my mom trying
That
to
it's
figure
gonna
out
snow when I leave, and you guys are gonna be screwed.
on the 1 year that the snowplow company that helps with our
Yeah.
driveway is rough, guys.
We
Like,
have a hard.
I'm not just being like, I don't want to go do it.
Yeah,
It's like
we have a steep driveway. It's
very
difficult to do.
long and steep, and there's no way I'm gonna be able to do it by myself.
Yeah.
It's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll just hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I'll hire some. I'll call somebody.
Yeah, but when it comes to snowboarding, there's simply nothing like it. Whenever people talk to me or ask me about it and are like, "Oh, should I do it?" I'm like, "Oh, absolutely do it. Get a lesson.
Yes.
If you are thinking of
100%.
skiing or snowboarding, get a lesson.
And not just from your friend.
Correct.
I've
Get a
also tried
professional
to
lesson.
teach people, and it was not.
The 1 hour lesson you get that you paid for is going to be like getting 5 lessons from your friend who's not going to teach you. Even if they can teach you properly, it's not going to be the same because they're not. That's not what they do.
I tried teaching Michelle once, and by the end, we were both just frustrated.
I'm confident that I
gave
could
up.
teach someone because I remember like the basic stuff that I was taught and how it got me comfortable. But it's been a while that like I have a friend who wants to go snowboarding and he's done it once, had a terrible time. And I said, like, we can go, but you're going to get a lesson and then we'll go and I'll like chill and take it easy with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to get a lesson because it's a must.
Yeah.
But once you do figure it out, there's simply nothing like riding on fresh, powdery snow and carving and turning. And it's the best.
It's very like, not therapeutic, but like,
Zen.
yeah. Because it's usually you, even if you're riding with other people, it's still just you. Because you can't talk to like another person unless like while you're going
slow or
down.
something like that. Yeah.
And it's nice, like every now and then you might like wait for each other and then like sit there for a minute,
Yeah.
catch up.
And then when you
or-
get
or on
good
the chair.
and in control, you can start going in the glades or the trees,
Yeah, which is our favorite.
which is awesome for many reasons. Usually what's nice is when you have like a windy condition or it's really snowy or there's fresh powder in the trees is best because that's usually where all the fresh tracks are. Not as many people will go in there because it's dangerous. But you can go in, like chill, stop, just enjoy. It's super quiet because you're
It
surrounded
is really nice because
by snow and trees that are covered with snow. It's just a very like surreal experience that you don't get to do often. There's nothing else like it,
yeah.
in my opinion. I know there's like wakeboarding and stuff, but that's very different.
Yeah. I'm the type of person that I like listening to music while I go down.
I want to do that this year.
It's because it helps me get out of my head. So
Yeah.
if I am in silence and I'm doing something, I just run. I'm like, oh, like I'm
You're
uber
overanalyzing.
concentrating on what I'm doing, and
Yeah.
thus like get scared more.
You can't just
and-
relax and
Yeah, I
get
can't
into the
relax. I'm
zone.
like, I'm going fast. I might fall.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit this person. When I have music, I'm like getting more into like the zone.
you're more
and
relaxed.
I don't think
You're
about
just
it.
kind of like letting it
Yeah,
flow
so that's
freely.
that's my favorite thing to do. I'll like either pause it or have it in one ear so that when we're on the chairlift we can talk to each other, and then once we get up there I just
I
zone
think I
out
want to
and
listen
go.
to music this year just to do it. I haven't done it in so long.
Yeah, I remember you said you didn't like it.
I didn't like it for a while just because I didn't like constantly having to like pause it to talk to people. I didn't
Just
like
the one.
I know. I didn't like having it would drain my phone.
Yeah, that too. You gotta be careful.
Or I didn't like it like when you're riding and you can't hear people as well. But I think I'm gonna do a little music this time I go.
Nice. You
Yeah.
enjoy.
I want to chill, enjoy it, take it nice and chill. I mean,
Yeah.
go crazy.
My other favorite part of snowboarding is because my biggest So I used to go to ski club too. It was called ski club,
ski club.
but we went every Friday. We would go to the ski mountain. Like a bus of us would go at the end of the day, at the end of the school day, and we'd go for a couple hours and then come back. So that was like, it was that. And then it was the week I would go to Canada with my family. That's like the extent of my knowledge around. Yeah. I've never gone out west. I've never gone to like a bigger mountain where there's avalanches and stuff, which we will talk about. But, my other favorite part about snowboarding is like the culture. So it's kind of like, or at least when we go to Canada, but it seems about the same around here. Like, oh yeah, I've been to Vermont was the only other place I've been to. But I like the lodge culture where like in between when you need a break, everybody comes in and you get all warm. There's like fireplaces and there's lots of comfort food. Like in Canada, we get lots of poutines, which is delicious, and Max comfort food, and French onion soups and hot cocoa. And then we'd get beer.
Yeah.
And Bailey's with coffee was another one I would always get.
Yeah. There's nothing like coming in after a couple great runs and you're excited and tired, and then you go sit down and you have a beer and like a soup or something chill, and you're just like,
oh, it's so nice.
Or
and then you watch other people going down the mountain.
Or you get the beer outside and you sit like at the base of the mountain.
Oh yeah, that was fun that we did when it's warm enough outside.
When there's a fire, or if there's a fire, you can go sit by outside. It is just a very cool.
There's lots of hot tubs
environment
usually.
And culture.
Yeah, there's a lot of hot tubs and pool tables and like at all the rental.
And when
houses.
everyone's like cool and chill and you're like having a good time and people aren't being jerks on the mountain, it's like fun to like just be around other people who are enjoying this unique experience with you. It's cool culture.
Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot. I do. I miss it. I wish I could.
I miss going to Canada.
I thought it was going to be, when I was in college, I was looking into trying to become like a videographer for snowboarders and like doing crazy trips and going with people. I was looking into it. I never did it, but I was like looking into how you
getting drones and stuff.
Get started. Well, this is before. Drones. This is before drones were big. But I never pursued that. But it was something I was really into in college. And then I met my friend Justin in college, who was also really good snowboarder, like same skill level as I. That's who I'm going with on this trip. And we went a lot. We'd do a lot of trips, and we still go, not as often as we used to, but.
That's who you're going with this time.
Yeah, it's fun when you go with people who are at your skill level too, because you're not like waiting for someone.
Yeah, that's like when me, you, and Justin went. We're all pretty much we're at the same skill level. I just don't like doing as many back-to-back runs.
Your
I like
stamina
taking
isn't
a break.
the same.
Yeah, I like taking breaks in between.
Yeah, I used to be more like the go.
Yeah, you've calmed down.
Now I like to chill a little bit more. Justin likes to go, and that's fine. You go at your own pace.
I remember I always be like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then I would like be gone for an hour or 2 hours. And I'd be like, all right, where are you? I'll come back out.
No, it's good. It's good to go at your own pace. You don't want to feel like people are rushing you or you're getting, because when you get too tired, that's when mistakes happen and that's when you fall and get hurt. So,
or when you drink too much and then decide to go up, which is also something you should never do. You're not supposed to, but may or may not have been done.
Yeah.
But I guess that's all the nice stuff about it.
Yeah, those are the nice. And it's nice. Another thing is like going on trips with your friends and like renting like a house that's either like on the mountain or near the mountain. And you get to like spend a couple days with your friends.
Or like in my case,
your family. Yeah.
Which I'm very much looking forward to once Melody's old enough to go to ski school, which I think they take them at like.
Probably 3.
Actually, well, they take them in the daycare, I think at 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, sorry, 3. But I don't think they take them up into the mountain until 4.
Really?
I think. But they start them. You should see these little kids.
Oh,
They're
it's
such
the
little
cutest
like toddler kids. They're like going so slow and little bunny.
And then you see little kids that are like crazy good. And like, wow.
Oh yeah, there's kids that have like blown past me on the hill, and I'm like, these little kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great.
It is. If you learn,
I hope she likes it.
The younger you learn, the better you'll be. It's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to getting to share that, like something that we like with her. And
it's also exciting because you're kind of like one with the elements and you're at the mercy of the weather. And when it's good, when the weather's good and you get fresh snow, it's like incredible. And then when it's bad, it really makes the experience pretty crappy.
Well, that's why I don't go
when
anymore.
It's super cold.
That's why I don't go anymore when it's too cold. Like when we went to Vermont.
It was like -20 and 30.
We went to Vermont. It was so cold that they had to shut down some of the lifts.
Yeah.
And some people still wanted to go. Like half our group went, and then the other half was like, including me, was like, we're not going to go. We're just going to stay and have wine and play board games. And that was also equally as fun.
Yeah.
And go in the hot tub. So
it
depends what you want.
Yeah.
It depends how much you love it.
It's kind of fun to be in the elements and like experiencing the extremes. It sucks when it rains and it's icy, which happens a lot on the East Coast. And what so I'm in like a little group chat with the friends that I'm going riding with, and I keep saying, I don't care if it snows. All I want is winter weather. I don't want rain. I don't want ice. I just want winter.
Rain is the worst.
Winter weather. Yeah, I've done that. or it's cool sometimes if you go spring skiing, like
you don't need a jacket.
When the mountain's still open. Yeah, you can go like in a t-shirt or just a long sleeve shirt, and you don't have to bundle all up. That's kind of fun. Or at the end of the year when they do like the pond skimming, when they make like the little ponds and you like ride into it with your skis or your board and you try to see how far you can go.
I've never
seen pond skimming?
No.
Yeah, they do it out like a lot of the East Coast mountains.
Ah.
So that's the good.
So that's all the good. And then it's funny because in my brain, because I feel like I'm the best at doing this, finding the scary things, because that's just how my brain operates at all times.
Yeah.
So as I was writing these out, I literally was just like this and this and this and this. So I think it might be funny to just list them all one after another. Then we can go back to them. Okay. Things that are scary about going skiing and or snowboarding, according to Lauren. You let me know if I forget anything. The ski lift, being just high up in the air on a ski lift. The T-bar, which if you don't know what that is, it is this bar that comes down that looks like a T, and you have to like scoot it like behind your butt or in between your legs. And it's
designed for skis. It does not work nearly as well for snowboards.
I hate it. It gives me such anxiety if somebody asks me to go on like a T-bar and I'm on a snowboard. It does not work, and you will fall and or halfway up because it's just like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. There's just this tension rod, and anytime like you're going up or down, if the tension loosens, you're like trying to hang on to it until the tension comes back. It's I hate it. It's dumb. People need to get rid of T-bar.
Works good for skiers. They need to change it.
It was fun with skis, yeah, because you just put it between your legs and you just hold on.
Sit on it almost.
But yeah, snowboard. For people who have never snowboarded, you have to keep one leg off when you're not going down the mountain. So that's why the T-bar is so hard, because they don't give you a chance to like strap your leg back in. You have to have your leg loose, and you got to make sure it doesn't.
It works best if you have one person who rides regular and one person who rides goofy, so like switch stance. Because then you can go back to back and like kind of like use your pressure against each other, but it's just not good.
The T-bar is scary, causes me anxiety. Falling as you're getting off the lift, like that's one of my biggest fears, that I'm gonna like fall while we're getting off the lift car and either take some stranger down with me that's riding, or take so long to get up that somebody behind me is gonna slam into us.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really happen.
It happens though. For sure happens. I mean, when you're on the lift and all of a sudden it stops, that's because someone fell.
Yeah.
If the person
No, I mean it happens, but I mean I haven't had that happen to me in a while. I think I just have like PTSD from when it used to happen.
I mean, when you're younger and less experienced, especially when it's a crowded lift and you're all trying to get off at the same time. If you're all snowboarders, it's not as easy because you need a little bit more space. Once you get good, you learn how to like just kind of like push off the lift and get out and away from it really quick. So that's what you should do.
Yeah. And then falling in general, going down the mountain at high speeds.
Oh yeah.
Or somebody slamming into you.
Oh yeah.
Without your control. That has also happened. Hitting into trees.
Mm-hmm.
Wild animals.
Mm-hmm.
Avalanches. Wild animals and avalanches more so in the West, but
yeah. We had a moose. Remember we were in Canada, we saw the moose in the woods.
Oh, that's right.
I saw a picture that popped up randomly. Like, wait, where was this? Like, oh, that was Canada.
Yeah, I forgot.
That was cool.
And for anybody who didn't know, because I didn't until probably a couple of years ago, moose are like more dangerous than bears.
They're huge.
Yeah, and they can be aggressive, and they're scary if they want to be. And then also I wrote ski patrol sled ambulance thing, because I'm always worried that if something happens to me and I have to get on this. They basically have this sled where there's two ski patrol people that go down with the sled. But I'm pretty sure there was a video recently where they lost the sled, and the sled just went down with this poor person.
I don't know how they haven't devised like a braking system on it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
It terrifies. I luckily have never had to go in that ski sled thing, but I would just be thinking, if I was conscious in it, I would just be thinking the whole time that they're going to let me go and I'm going to go sailing down the mountain.
Yeah, there's times when I'm flying down the mountain, I'm like, if I fell right now, that would be very bad.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of when you want to get out of your head and not think that way, where, like you were saying before, music can help you kind of just chill and get in the groove and not overthink.
Well, the worst fall I ever had, I luckily had a helmet on, but I slid on ice when I was a teenager and fell backwards and slammed my head
that's what happened
on
to me.
the high ice. Luckily had a helmet on. If I didn't, I don't know.
Yeah, when I was in Canada a couple years ago, and
on the first day too.
It was the first day. It was our last run, and I went on like a box rail, and I came to the end of it, and it was all iced out at the end of it. And I caught an edge and hit and just smacked my head on the back, and I lost it. Like, you went somewhere and I couldn't find you. And I definitely had a concussion.
Yeah, we had to skip dinner that night. We luckily had, well, he's technically a dentist, but he's a doctor. Like, he went to my Uncle Joe. I'm pretty sure that's who we had him look at him because he knew how to say. I think he wasn't sure. He thought you were okay, but he said just to be careful.
Yeah.
He was like, make sure he doesn't fall asleep. And that's like all you wanted to do when we were home. So we stayed and watched movies.
And then the second, or the probably equal, was I was going off a jump. It was a big jump at a local mountain. And I was going off it. And all of a sudden, this little kid on skis comes right up next to me. And they bail off the side of, they bailed off the side of the ramp. And then all of a sudden, I see them, like, another person was coming around the side and they ran into him, smacked, did like a 360 spin. And I was like, oh shit. And as I'm saying that, I'm going off the lip of the jump and I'm in the air, like waving my arms, going like, oh, trying to like regain my balance. And I fall and smack my hip, and my hip was all messed up real bad, and like my leg. And I don't really do jumps anymore. And that was one of the last times. I'll do small little jumps, or if there's like natural little like jumps you can do along the side, but yeah, no big jumps for me anymore.
Hey, Bobby, you know what's really creepy?
Tell me, Lauren.
Seeing a doctor who's in a rush.
Oh, when they don't have the time for you and they're just trying to get to the next patient or get back home.
Yeah, and it's terrible when you're there for a legitimate reason that's worrying you and you feel like you have to rush through your questions and sometimes you forget.
Yeah, and they just treat you like a customer rather than a patient.
Yeah, instead of listening to you intently, maybe asking how you feel and helping you along, you get a doctor who's just checking the clock.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, Lauren, thank you to today's sponsor, ZocDoc. You'll find quality doctors who focus on you, listen to you, and prioritize your care.
ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun.
Surprising twist, might work for podcasts, but maybe not for medical care.
With ZocDoc, there are no alarms and no surprises.
You can choose from thousands of patient-reviewed doctors and specialists, browse doctor profiles, upload and verify your insurance information, and get the care you need.
And actually, Bobby and I both personally used ZocDoc before they were even a sponsor of this podcast.
Go to ZocDoc.com/everything and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours.
That's ZocDoc.com/everything. ZocDoc.com/everything. All right, so hopefully the first part wasn't too boring for anybody who has not skied or snowboarded, or maybe it wasn't boring and you want to ski or snowboard.
Yeah, do it. Give it a try.
But before you decide to do that, you might want to hear our scary stories, and then that might sway your decision one way or the other. I think maybe you should read your... So I only found one scary story that I wanted to talk about, but it's basically the synopsis of a movie. That is lazy, but I read it and it gave me chills, so that's why I chose it. And also, it's from 2010, so if you haven't watched it yet, I don't think you care that I'm gonna spoil it. But either way, I think yours might be better to do first because yours are actually real life ones.
Yeah, so I found this one actual thing that happened to this one kid that was very freaky and is something that I'm always worried about. So basically there was this kid in North Carolina that had gone snowboarding for his, like, one of his first times going. He had done a couple runs and he was feeling good. And he went on the lift and he couldn't get off the lift in time. So he stayed on the lift to, like, go back down the mountain, which is, you can do that. Not supposed to, really.
I forgot I should have added that as one of my fears, was that I'm not going to be able to get off the lift. And
Yeah,
I have
or
to
you get, like,
ride
stuck
it back
on
down.
it or
Even though it's
something.
not a big deal.
Yeah.
Unless the story makes it seem like it's a big deal.
So basically they shut the lift off because it was, like, one of the last runs, but they didn't. Usually what they do is they check and they're like, okay, there's no one on the lift. They run it through a couple times. I pretty sure, making sure there's no, like, stuff, no people. For some reason, this place didn't do that. So he was stranded for 2 hours, 30 feet above the ground in, like, a wooded area. And the temperature is low as 6 degrees. He got his phone out to call, but the second he pressed the call button, his phone died.
Oh my God.
So he was worried he would, like, freeze to death. And he's like, all right, I probably got to jump. So he dropped his snowboard to see if it was, like, hard packed snow or ice or, like, powder to see how it was. He said he saw his snowboard bounce and he's like, all right, I know, like, this is going to hurt. So he jumped from the lift onto solid ice and he knocked himself unconscious. When he woke up, he had a broken leg and a broken arm. He tried standing up, but he fell down because he couldn't stand. So he crawled out of the woods and then he had to crawl down the slope with a broken arm. His family, meanwhile, the family hadn't heard from him for hours. It was 8 o'clock. They got a phone call that says they found him. So what ended up happening was he shattered his hip, his foot, and broke his arm and wrist in several places. And they said he wouldn't be able to walk for 3 months.
Where was this?
North Carolina.
Oh my God. I would have sued the hell out of that place.
Yeah. And they were like, they had told the kid, like, oh, you're not gonna be able to play sports again. But fortunately, months later, he was playing football again. So he's doing okay. And he actually, like, wants to go back to the mountain to go snowboarding, which is crazy. And the family obviously, like, sued the mountain.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially at the top, there's usually a person at the bottom and the top. So wouldn't a person have seen that he did not?
So
I guess they weren't paying attention because it was the end of the day. But damn.
Do you want to read yours because it kind of goes with it, or do you want me to?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's a good idea. Okay, so going off that, I wonder if they got the idea for this movie.
Well, no, the movie came out in 2010.
Yeah.
This has happened in 2016, I'm pretty sure.
See, they didn't see the movie either. Then they would have known that you need to double check the chairlifts. Okay, so I think it's kind of funny. This movie is called Frozen. That is the title of the movie. Before Disney's Frozen came out. This is a very different. Can you imagine how many kids may have put this on thinking that it was Frozen and it's not at all
not the same movie. Not the same movie.
So I remember when this movie came out in 2010. I remember the trailer for this movie coming out and being like, I can't watch this movie because it already gives me so much anxiety watching the trailer. So now I don't have to because I read the synopsis and so are you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
So my sister yelled at me for the sleeping podcast because I didn't give a trigger warning before my Russian sleep experiment. So trigger warning for the sleeping episode is being given right now. And then also trigger warning for this movie synopsis because it's not graphic because it's the synopsis, but the movie's pretty graphic.
It's creepy.
So, yes, it's creepy. As far as I know, this is not a true story, but obviously it has happened.
It can happen.
So Dan, his girlfriend Parker, and his best friend travel to a. Have you seen this movie?
No.
Do you know what happens?
Not really. Okay. I don't want to watch this movie.
Well, good. Now you don't have to. I'm gonna tell you.
Yes.
Okay. Dan, his girlfriend Parker, and his best friend. It's like me, you, and Justin. Traveled to a ski resort to enjoy a day on the slopes. Before departing, the three friends convinced the ski lift operator to let them go on one last run down the mountain before the resort closes for a long weekend. The ski lift operator gets relieved from duty by a second operator. The first operator tells the second one that there are 3 people who still need to come down, but the second operator mistakes 3 mingling skiers for Dan, Parker, and Joe and turns the ski lift off as the 3 friends dangle many feet above the ground. Trapped on the ski lift chair, the trio argues over how to escape before Dan jumps off the chair in an attempt to get help. The fall breaks both Dan's legs, and he is subsequently attacked and killed by a pack of wolves while his girlfriend and friend watch helplessly from above. This is supposed to be scary, no? So yeah, the trailer for this movie showed like the wolves being below them, and like
there wouldn't. I don't think there would be wolves.
What do you mean they shut down the ski resort? There's nobody there.
But usually wild animals stay clear of populated human areas.
Yeah, but it's closed down and it's dark.
That's all right. Whatever.
I didn't say this was a true story.
I'm just saying.
I hate this because I can't imagine being above my boyfriend and hearing him get mauled by wolves. That sounds like well, it is a horror movie, but it sounds like the worst thing ever. So anyway, after that happens, Joe, the friend that's still with the girlfriend, attempts to traverse the ski lift cable, making it onto
climbing it.
Making it on to a nearby support tower. But doing this causes the bolt holding the chair to the cable to become dangerously loose.
Oh my God.
What? That can't happen? I mean, I feel like that's a really faulty chairlift if one person climbing on the metal rail is gonna do that, but unless Joe's a giant. On the ground, the wolves have gathered below waiting for Joe. They're just like,
we're gonna get you.
They're just really I also don't think wolves behave like this. I'm pretty sure, maybe they do. Maybe they're really hungry. I don't know. People can let me know. I don't know any wolf knowledge if this is far-fetched or not. The wolves have gathered below waiting for Joe. After being attacked, so apparently Joe, they just like missed a bit there. Joe, I guess, got down even though the wolves were down there and got attacked. He managed to scare them off using a ski pole and then slides down the mountain on Parker's snowboard, planning to return with help, but the wolves chase after him. Joe does not return by the next morning.
So she's up on this lift?
So she's still up there, and Joe gets down, scares off the wolves, and is like, don't worry, I'm gonna go, you're gonna use your snowboard to get down to the base and call for help.
Yeah.
And then she just waits there, and he never comes back.
Oh my God.
So you could assume that he probably got mauled by wolves. So Parker attempts to reach the support pole herself, so she also tries.
Why would they close the mountain for a long weekend? That's like,
I know that's probably the busiest time for a week. I don't know. Maybe it was a small family-run mountain, and they don't want to work on the holiday.
Whatever.
Stop poking holes in my scary movie. As she stands in the chair, the bolt fails, and the lift falls to a few meters above the ground, like her in the chair. Parker jumps from the chair, but the chair then falls and fractures her ankle. Nothing's working out. Parker begins to slide and crawl down the mountain, so kind of like that kid had to do. She encounters the wolves feasting on what's left of Joe, too occupied with eating. I love how the wolves are like monsters in this movie. Also, how long has Joe been dead for? And they're still eating him? How long did she wait before she was
savoring.
Like... as I'm reading this, I'm like, how long did she wait before she was like, Joe's not coming back? When she waited like 30 minutes and she was like, oh, help hasn't come yet. Give Joe some time. I mean, obviously Joe's dead, so it doesn't matter. But they were too occupied with eating Joe. So they ignore Parker as she continues down, eventually reaching a road. While a car passes without noticing her, another eventually appears and the driver stops. He drives her to a local hospital, telling her that she will be okay. Parker closes her eyes as she misses Dan and remembers him telling her that she will survive.
That's it?
Yeah.
I was going to say she woke up and she was surrounded by wolves. The wolves attacked the car. You're not getting away.
The wolves got the car. The wolves were driving the car.
The guy was a wolf. He was a werewolf.
The guy was a werewolf.
Oh my goodness.
And everything just made sense.
All right. Well.
So not based on, but then the kid thing happened after that movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would think,
Could you imagine having seen that movie and then it happening to you and you being like, oh my God, the wolves are going to come.
Where are the wolves?
The wolves.
There's definitely been times where like the ski lift has stopped for a long time.
Yeah.
And you're worried it's like broken or something.
Yeah.
And there actually has like where they fall, which is terrifying.
Oh my God, why would you tell me that?
Getting into creepiness. The mountain
didn't that happen not too long ago?
The mountain
like
that we
years?
go to, it happened.
What mountain? J Peak?
No, the one that we go to, you and I. Pretty sure it was that one, or it was a different one. It was a look. I thought it was the one we go to. Anyway,
you didn't tell me that. I'm not going there anymore.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't think it was that mountain because I'm pretty sure I would have known about it.
I
remember hearing about it, but I thought it was out west that it happened.
No. Yeah, I'm pretty sure not.
I'm pretty sure not.
Anyway, I have some ghost stories. So these are like ghost stories that take place in ski towns. The first one is in Banff, Alberta, which is in Canada. It's known as
town name.
Canada's Castle in the Rockies. And this story takes place in the Fairmont Banff, B-A-N-F, Banff Springs Hotel. So this has a storied history that dates back over 125 years. It's hosted its fair share of heads of state, royalty, celebrities, ski travelers, but its residents' ghosts deserve the most notoriety. So 2 ghosts in particular, a doomed bride and an old bellman.
A doomed bride.
Doomed bride. And then an old bellman who once worked in the hotel are its most famous fixtures. In the early 1930s, the young bride was set to be wed in Cascade Ballroom, and upon descending down the stairs, brushed her dress against an open flame of a candle, causing her to become startled and fall down the stairs her demise.
Oh my God.
Guests have reported seeing her apparition through the hotel, still wearing her white lace wedding dress. This one's creepy.
God.
Then there is the ghost of Sam McCulley, the former head bellman of the hotel. His first reported sighting was when 2 elderly women couldn't get into the room one cold fall evening. They had called the front desk asking for help, and by the time the night bellman reached the 9th floor elevator foyer, he observed they had made it into the room. When he asked how they got in, they described the friendly, white-haired old bellman who had appeared out of nowhere, key in hand, to let them in. There was no one on the bellman staff with that description or age since then. The front desk and guest services still receive calls and comments from guests mentioning that Sam assisted them.
That's so weird.
It's pretty spooky. And this next one...
That would be great if it was just some old guy that
sneaks around.
He just loves it there.
Just want to help.
I just want to be helpful.
Yeah. All right. And this next one here is in Vail, Colorado.
Okay.
This is the creepy story, creepy area.
Vail.
So it's located outside of Vail in Beaver Creek. Gilman, so it was an old abandoned mining town originally founded in 1886 during the Colorado Silver Boom. But due to a toxic contamination in 1984, the EPA ordered it to be shut down immediately. So residents fled. So in this town, there's still like cars and garages and even like...
There's like Chernobyl?
Yeah, it's almost like Chernobyl. Like the pictures look like similar.
In Vail?
It's near Vail. It's in Beaver. It's out right outside of it in Beaver Creek.
That's crazy.
And like residents fled, so they left cars in the garages and like place settings on the table. And though it sits on a private land and is considered strictly off limits, rumor has it Halloween brings out curious visitors due to its weird vibe. So just a creepy story that takes place near, which got me thinking how there's probably many creepy old hotels scattered around like near ski resorts and mountains that are probably very, very creepy.
I should ask next time we go to Canada if there's any creepy stories from that
place.
I don't know how long they've been around.
Creepy stories. I mean, yeah, it's like we were saying before, like the ski culture is very unique and cool.
It is very cool, but it could be creepy because there's definitely been a lot of people who have died because it's a
dangerous
sport,
sport,
especially if you're not experienced or in the right headspace or who the famous guy died from
Sonny Bono. Yeah, part of looking up was like all people who have died that were like famous.
It's usually trees. Every time I hear about it, somebody that ran into a tree.
Well, it's usually even if they're not in the tree skiing, they could be going down the mountain.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's people who like, I don't know. I've never lost control like that being an experienced person. So I don't know if like is it mainly inexperienced people that slam into trees?
I don't know. I don't want to speculate.
One of my cousins hit a tree. They had to go to the Canadian hospital.
Yeah, my friend hit a tree when we were in the woods one time.
It was scary. They said he
got messed up.
Yeah, he forgot like his name and stuff. That's why they had to bring him.
Yeah, he just kind of got like the wind knocked out of him. He didn't thankfully get too injured. I mean, he got like hurt, but he didn't like get nothing severe.
Yeah, I'm always worried. My biggest worry, it's always like things I can't control are the things I'm the most worried about. Yeah. So I'm always worried somebody's going to slam into me really hard.
Same as that's why I didn't like listen to music. Cause I want to be very aware of my surroundings. And usually like a tip, it's whatever, but something I make sure to do is when it's a crowded mountain, I do my best to like, or if I'm at a certain spot on the trail where it's a lot of people, I just get away from everyone as quickly as I can, just because I want to avoid.
I'll wait it out if I feel like I can't get through them, or I try to go
skiing
or snowboarding when it's not a holiday weekend or a busy time. Like during the week is the best time to go. During the week on a non-holiday week, which I know not everybody can do. But
what it's actually similar to is driving, which is what our next podcast topic is going to be.
Yeah.
But
yeah, but you won't be able to submit stories because we're filming this way.
You're filming all these.
So by the time this comes out, we'll have already filmed driving. But yeah, it's the same concept. It's like you're going at a very fast speed.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people also get into arguments, probably more skiing and snowboarding and stuff too.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely
kind of just pass by them.
Yeah,
kind of like a car.
Well, it's hard because you get a mix of inexperienced riders who don't know like the proper etiquette of riding.
Or younger people who don't care.
Yeah.
Or young kids who don't know.
Yeah. So it's just a lot of mix. So it definitely has its like creepier negative aspects of it. But when everything's good and people are on the proper run or trail that they're supposed to be on and everyone's going at the right speed and pace, it all works. Similar.
Honestly, the creepiest part to me is just the chairlift now.
Yeah.
And again, it's because it's not in my control. I can't do anything to like make sure.
I'm always creeped out whenever I'm going over like a high spot or whatever. It's always just like, yeah, this could be bad, but you know, it's the risks that we take when we go. So you can't think about it. It's just like driving a car, going on a roller coaster, getting in an airplane. Bad things can always happen, but.
I mean, I guess the one good thing is anytime somebody's fallen, it seems they just break their legs.
Yeah.
You just gotta worry about wolves.
It depends.
That's the only thing you gotta worry about.
Watch out for the wolves that'll pick you up afterwards.
I do worry whenever I go in the woods. I always worry I'm gonna see a wolf or a bear.
I'm not I said.
I never have.
Yeah, the animals. I mean, at least from my experience with like camping, is they will generally avoid people.
Yeah.
So if there's not, we saw the moose one time, but that's because that mountain is like in the wilderness. So.
Well, I think they said though they were worried about it because I think they reported it and they were starting to tape off that area to make sure people didn't go in there. But I thought they said it was because there was a young moose with it, and that's why they were worried about it, like because the bigger mom moose.
I have a good story, a good funny story. We can end it with if we want to. So, was it the last time we went to Canada when we went off the mountain?
Yes, I think so. That was the last time.
So
sure, you can add a funny
so when
story.
you're going snowboarding, obviously there's the trails, but then you can kind of like go off the mountain, especially when you're in the woods. You like dip out beyond the boundary lines, beyond the tape lines. So I think it was the first day we were there. We were in the woods. It was me, my friend Justin, and your cousin's husband Ralph.
Yeah.
So we're going.
The best part about that though is Ralph, because Ralph had kids at the time, and this was like the one morning that he got to like get up early and leave. Like I think Megan let him go first, and then this happened. Like,
so I had done it before, where you basically ride the edge and you like go on the edge of the boundary, but you eventually can like get back and you're fine. We went a little too far. We went too far out. We were following trails, but eventually we just kind of got a little too adventurous. And we're going along. We're like, oh my God, this is like, we're getting the best snow because the snow is so deep. And we just kept going.
You guys are lucky you didn't hit like a
cliff,
like that or a snow pocket or anything. Because
yeah, I mean, that's not really happens out there. But yes, I agree. It could have been. But it wasn't like crazy steep or anything. So we could see everything. Anyway. Going along, having a good old time, riding in the snow. And also we get to like what I thought was a trail, just kind of open. And it was flat. I'm like, oh, I'm not sure which way to go. And I open my phone and I'll go my GPS. And if you go on my Instagram, if you like scroll through, you'll see like ski pictures. And if you go along, you'll see the picture that I posted. And I realized we were way off the trail. And I was just like, well, I'm pretty sure there's a road that way, so we'll just walk that way. We're walking. We eventually get to like a little like development area with like houses and a road, and we walk out, and then like there's the main road. So I called Lauren. I tell her where we are. I sent her the GPS. It was only like a 10-minute drive. It wasn't anything crazy. All of a sudden, these police officers pull up, and
Mounties.
Well, they're cops.
They're not called police. They're called Mounties.
Oh, whatever.
Canadian Mounties.
Because we're on like this huge snow mound. We had our snowboards there. They this was definitely something that happens because they, I think there might have actually been someone else. They said, I don't know, whatever. So they come up and they start speaking in French, like French Canadian to us. And I was like, don't we speak English? Like we went the wrong way. And they're like still speaking in French, like yelling at us. I'm like, sorry, we don't understand you. And then all of a sudden they like start speaking English. I'm like, oh, you guys speak English. You're just like messing with us. And they're yelling at us. Like, oh, you're doing this. Like, and they said, this happens all the time. And I'm like, well, if this happens all the time, there's obviously like, it's not marked properly. Because we really didn't, we went off boundary, but we did it right in the beginning and we followed trails. That's what I said. It's like we were following trails. Like we didn't like we were following other people's like paths basically. And they weren't having it. And I said, like, my wife's coming to get us. We're fine. They eventually, like, stopped bothering us. But
yeah, meanwhile, Bobby has a big pickup truck, and I had never driven it before because I don't like driving big cars. They scare me. So I had to, I recruited one of our other cousins' husbands to drive it. So me and him are, like, going out in the middle of nowhere. I was like, where the heck? He had to, like, drop a pin on a map.
That's what I did,
for me to, like, find him.
I
just remember seeing you guys. I was like, I can't.
Side of the road. It's good. It's a good time. Just be careful. Like most, things, you got to have some responsibility with that.
Don't go off. Don't try to be cool and go off the path.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the other thing they do is some of the slopes in Canada aren't lit at night. Like, you could do night skiing, but some of the back trails don't have lights. So they rope them off at dusk. And I do remember a couple times we like snuck in there to ride it. And it was very dangerous because you get to like certain points and you're like, I can't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you run into trees. And you shouldn't do it. So now that I'm older, I don't do that. I lived through it. I lived to tell the tale, and that's all I need now. But yeah, that's where Bobby will be this week. And I will be having a girls' week with my mom and Melody.
Mm-hmm.
And we will miss you.
I'm excited. They've been getting a lot of snow there, which is
I'm excited to finally go to Canada one of these years. Whenever we maybe next year. If not next year, then definitely the year after that.
Yeah.
I want to go. We're going every year so that I have an excuse to go. We have ski school for Melody.
The
only thing we would need is trying to figure out. It would be awesome to bring Dexter one year.
Yeah.
I mean, the houses allow dogs, but it's just getting him through the border I'm a little worried about because he's not the friendliest. They'll be like, we don't want him coming in our country. He's a stinker. He's not the friendliest. He's not the friendliest with strangers coming to our car. He's friendly when he gets to sniff and you pet him. That's good.
He's very defensive of us.
Yeah. But yeah. Next episode is going to be about driving.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be fun. I have some stories. I can't wait to talk about like my first time taking my driver's test.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll be driving.
And all of our crazy car. Oh, we could talk about the time your car tires were stolen.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it doesn't have to do with driving, but it's car related.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're not going to do a car episode.
Cars.
Because I don't know anything about cars.
Same.
I do know about driving, though. I do it a lot. And remember...
everything is creepy.
Please don't die on your ski trip.
Okay. Thanks.
Don't.
That's where we're going to leave it. Have fun.
Bring meat with you. So if you are to get stuck on a chairlift and there's wolves, you can throw the meat and get away from them.
Okay, Michael Scott. Thanks. Great advice.
There, we can leave it there. Just bring meat with you on the chairlift. The wolves will come for you. Just throw it, and they will Go after that,
Oh
and
my
then you
God.
can go.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching and listening.